Welcome to this week's class, When Your Health Matters, the class designed to empower you to better health through knowledge and education. And I'm your host, Dr. Richard Huntoon from Advanced Alternative Medicine Center. We're located at 138 Canal Street in Pooler Park, that is in Pooler, Georgia. We're in Suite 404 of Building 400. If you want to get a hold of me, great way to do that would be to stop into the office. But if you're a little reticent because of the current global pandemic that's going on and you would like to have a conversation without actually being in my presence, you can always call me. Call me directly on my cell phone, which is area code 845-561-2225. Again, 845-561-2225. Please do not text that phone, as that phone does not receive texts. I will never get your information. I will never respond to you. And that kind of defeats the purpose of you trying to contact me and ask your questions. So you can always email me directly at docrick@spineboy.com. That's DOCRICK at spineboy.com. And it would be my pleasure to help you to better understanding with the concerns that you have regarding your health. This is our weekly video healthcare class, simply because most people have stopped going out into public and they certainly don't want to go to a strange office and meet with somebody such as myself because they're concerned about COVID-19. So in continuing with our February healthcare classes, this is our class on water. And water is the second most important ingredient that you could feed your body other than oxygen by breathing. We discussed the importance of that in our first healthcare class this year. We said the 5 things that you need to do. Breathing was important. Water was important, real food was important, exercise was important, and sleeping was important as a review for January's first class. So getting into the second most important ingredient, that would be water. Now, are you aware of how many different types of water exist that are sold to us on the market? Not different brands, but actual different types of water. Yeah, most people don't understand that there are 14 different types of water that we can consume as a part of trying to keep ourselves hydrated. And some of these are healthy for you, and some of them are unhealthy for you. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all 14 different types, and I'm going to give you a sense of what you should be considering, and most importantly, what you want to do in order to maintain your health, the appropriate amount of water, and everything related to water as it occurs. So forgive me if I look to my notes with 14 different types of water. I can remember most of it, but in an effort to give you the information that you need, I may refer to my notes. So first type of water that is the healthiest for us, it's probably the most expensive water if you try to buy it in a store, and that would be artesian well water. Artesian well waters come from an artesian well, which is a confined aquifer that exists. How does it exist? An aquifer, an underground porous rock or sand formation that bears water and is under pressure from the different layers, and what ends up happening is that water gets forced up to the surface, and when it comes out, it's been filtered through all the porous rocks and the sands and even potentially clay that's associated. And what comes out of the ground is the best type of water. It's the most mineral-rich water. And these minerals, we'll learn a little bit later what purpose they serve. But artesian well water, you can actually buy artesian well water. There's a couple on the market out there. One of them is Fiji water, and one of them is Vasa water, V-A-S-A. They both typically come in glass bottles, although I have seen some of the waters, the artesian well waters, that are now coming in plastic bottles, and you want to see if you can get them in glass bottles. That keeps from leaching the plastics out of the bottle and put them into the water. That would kind of defeat the purpose of getting artesian well water. Now, the second most important type of water is mineral water. And it's interesting that Europeans drink this water primarily Everywhere that they go, it's served everywhere. You can get it with gas or without gas. Um, but mineral water has also a high concentration of minerals in it, not as high as the artesian well water, but certainly higher than some of the waters that are going to come after this. And so the mineral content is very, very important. It's got 250 parts per million in the minerals, and it's a very, very high quality water for you to drink. Again, you can get several different types. Pellegrino is a type of mineral water. That's the type of water that I typically like to drink, certainly when I'm out. And that brings us to the third type of water that's also very healthy for you, which would be spring water, local bottled spring water. Spring water has everything in it that nature would have. It's whatever. If they take it from a confined spring of sorts, if they do anything in the treatment process of it, they actually have to return it to the original contents of minerals and trace minerals associated with it. So spring water is very, very healthy for you to drink. That's the main type of water that I drink on a regular basis. We could go with a naturally sparkling water. This is another type of mineral water, naturally sparkling water. Comes from a spring or an artesian well. It's naturally carbonated to it, so it gives it that sparkling, fizzy type situation that some people like in their water. Then, of course, the fifth type of water that is healthy to drink would be well water. Assuming that the well is drilled in an area that wasn't on a landfill of some sort and didn't have issues with the land where the well is being drawn from. So you want to consider those 5 basic types of water. You got the artesian well water, you got the mineral water, you got the spring water, you got the naturally sparkling water, and then last but not least, you got the well water. Those are the 5 types of waters in their level of importance. Artesian well water and mineral water. Artesian well water, you can drink maybe a quart a week. A quart a week would be helpful for you. If you want to do a quart a day, that would be fine too. But any of the other waters that I'm going to be discussing going forward, these are all purified waters and treated waters and filtered waters, and there's some issues associated with each one of them that I'm going to go through one at a time. So the first one would be purified water. Purified water comes, basically it's filtered water that has been put through a porous membrane of sorts, and it gets rid of what's known as the total dissolved solids, which is primarily where all the health building components of the water actually exist. When you filter these things out and you purify the water, what you're doing is you're removing all of those total dissolved solids, which ultimately helps the body maintain its mineral content, its trace mineral content, its calcium levels, and helps with what we'll get into a little bit later related to your immunity. So purified water is offered everywhere. When I was getting, I was at a seminar and trying to get a sense of what was being served to us at the seminar. Another event that I was at a cycling event, and all they offered at the cycling event was purified water. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if I'm going to drink this purified water while I'm exerting a whole bunch of effort over the 3 to 4 hours that I was going to be competing, I knew purified water wasn't really ideal for the overall health and wellness of an individual, but that was the only water that was being offered. So while I was competing, I was actually thinking about the different types of water, which inspired me to do this class. And I've been doing this class for, I don't know, last 10, 12, 14 years. So getting back to purified water, it's made readily available. Coca-Cola manufactures one, Pepsi manufactures one. There's a lot of different manufacturers of purified water. Not ideal for you. It's not really going to hydrate you the way that you would like to be hydrated, again, because it's been purified, so it's missing the minerals, the trace minerals, certainly missing the calcium content that's important for you. After purified water, we have filtered water. Filtered water is a little bit different. The level of filtration that goes on definitely keeps the total dissolved solids, which is where all the immune building properties exist, where the calcium bicarbonate exists. So filtered water, you're basically dealing with smaller than 1 micron of water being pushed through these filters, and like I said, it takes out all the total dissolved solids. There's a type of water that people ask me about. There's a type of water that people have come in telling me that that's the only type of water that they drink, and this is distilled water. Distilled water couldn't possibly be more bad for your health than any other type of water. And for those of you who have any plants around, I would invite you to water your plants with distilled water. And I would like for you to see what happens to that plant over, I don't know, less than a week. Just see what happens to the plant if you water it with distilled water. The plant's ultimately going to shrivel up and die. Why? Because it's not getting into the minerals that it needs from the distilled water. Moving on from distilled water, we have reverse osmosis. Reverse osmosis is a type of water that they put through a process that again goes through filtration and collecting the water that comes out the other end. And what have you done with all of these different types of water? You filtered out the necessary immune building properties associated with the minerals, the trace minerals, and the calcium bicarbonate. After reverse osmosis, we have ozonated water. That's where they add O3 to the water in an effort to act as a disinfectant to kill off any of the pathogens that might be in the water. All of these purified waters and filtered waters and distilled waters, etc., what they're doing is they're filtering out any pathogens, which is important. You want to definitely filter out the pathogens, but at the end of the day, you don't want to filter out all the other ingredients that help to build health. So ozonated water, like I said, they add O3 to it in an effort to kill off any of the pathogens, and then hopefully they filter out whatever those pathogens that rise to the surface so that they're not included in the ozonated water. Then we have a type of water that became very popular in not too distant past, alkaline water. Alkaline water is water that has a pH above 7.0. There are machines out there that produce alkaline water at various degrees. What the water does is it's put through a process within the machine. There's titanium plates within the machine that helps to split the water into the acidic type and the alkaline type. And the alkaline type comes out through the drinking faucet, and the acidic type actually goes out through the waste product. And you can get different values out of the different degrees of acidity versus alkalinity, but there was a whole big movement that said that alkaline water is better for you, and it's will help to detoxify you for a little bit, but it'll also help leach minerals out of you. So drinking alkaline water long term is not going to be healthy for you. May create other issues related to your heart, etc. After alkaline water, we have UV light filtered treated water. Again, they're using ultraviolet light to kill any pathogens, and then hopefully they're scooping them off the top of the water there. And again, that's an okay water to drink, but it's it's not ideal. It's not what nature would wanted you to have to begin with. Then of course we got the last two types of water. These have become popular depending upon how the advertisers have appealed to you. We have vitamin water. That's where they infuse filtered water with vitamins in an effort to give you some level of vitamins that you would be drinking. It's a good concept. It's not executed very well. I would ask for you to consider staying away from that. Sure, it starts off with filtered, purified water, but then they add these synthetic chemical isolated vitamins to it, which really aren't in the proper ratios, and your body probably is going to be creating expensive urine and putting extra stress on your kidneys, which is really not ideal. And then last but not least, we have flavored water. Yeah, adding flavor to water in an effort to spice it up in some way, shape, or form. again, when you're adding things to water, then it stops becoming water and your body actually has to digest it. And then it loses water in the process, which we talked about in a previous class. The importance of making sure that the water is got everything in it that you're supposed to have. So flavored water, when your body has to digest and run through the Krebs cycle in an effort to extract the water out of it, you're actually losing water, and that's not really ideal for you. So that's one of the reasons why most people are walking around functionally dehydrated. So it's important to appreciate which water is best. Well, I covered them in the first 5. We got artesian well water, we've got mineral water, we've got spring water, we've got naturally sparkling water, and then last but not least, if your well is clean and pure and you've had the water tested, well water is good because that typically comes from a confined aquifer as well. So I've been mentioning immunity. Calcium bicarbonate, which is found in the first 3 types of water, the artesian well water, the mineral water, and the spring water. The concentration of calcium bicarbonate is necessary for strong immunity. The challenge is that calcium bicarbonate isn't available and isn't in a form that we can actually ingest other than through drinking water. So you can't find calcium bicarbonate in a supplement other than water. So if you're drinking mineral water, artesian well water, or spring water, you're getting higher concentrations of calcium bicarbonate, which then in the stomach gets cleaved off and absorbed and now becomes calcium carbonate. Now, calcium carbonate is a waste product. That's something that you will find in your urine. And I think at some point somebody analyzed a person's urine and saw that calcium carbonate was a waste product. So they said, well, obviously if the body's excreting it, maybe calcium carbonate is the type of calcium that you should be having. And so they created calcium carbonate in supplements. Unfortunately, it's a waste product. It's an excretory product. You need calcium bicarbonate. But calcium bicarbonate, like I said, isn't suitable in any form other than in a liquid form. So getting it from your artesian well water, your mineral water, or your spring waters from highest to lowest concentrations is ideal for you. So you want to understand what the calcium content is within your water. So how could you do that? Well, you could call the manufacturer. There's usually an 800 number on the bottle. If you call the 800 number and you talk to the people there, they should be able to give you the understanding of what the calcium bicarbonate concentration is. But that should be put on the label. If it's not on the label, then yes, it's probably a purified or a filtered water, and by definition, you shouldn't be drinking that to begin with. So, how much water does one need to drink? Well, I've said in the past, and I'll continue to say, that you need 1 quart of water for every 50 pounds you weigh every single day. And so if you weigh 100 pounds, you need your 8 8-ounce glasses of water. If you weigh 150 pounds, you need 3/4 of a gallon of water. If you weigh 200 pounds, you need a gallon of water every day. And if you weigh more than 200 pounds, then you're going to need more than a gallon of water a day. And the good news is, if you're drinking that water, it creates the increased efficiency in your metabolism, increases the speed of your Krebs cycle, which will actually help you to lose weight. So drinking the right amount of water and drinking the best quality water is going to give your body the minerals that it needs. It's going to give your body the water that it needs, and it's going to allow your body to process things in a more efficient manner. When should you be drinking water? Don't drink water with your meals because you'll dilute your digestive enzymes. So I ask you to drink 2 hours after eating a meal to help you absorb your food better, and not within 30 minutes of eating, so that your digestive enzymes can do their job. Once they've done their job, it takes about 2 hours to break your food down. Then you can drink water to help you absorb it, but not within, a certain amount of time before eating. Otherwise, when you're getting ready to eat, you dilute your digestive enzymes, which is interesting because the first thing that happens when you go into a restaurant is the waiter or the waitress, the waitstaff, they bring you a glass of water. Well, if you're going to have the water, ask them to make it room temperature, because cold water shuts off your stomach, which is not ideal when you're trying to digest your food. So you want to stay away from cold water. You want to have room temperature water, even if it's a little bit warm, not hot, but just leaning a little bit towards the warm side of room temperature. That would be ideal. And so Those are the 14 different types of water, when you should be drinking your water and what the ideal temperature is, and what the amounts that you should be drinking. So I want to thank you for tuning in. Tune back in next week, same health time, same health station. This is Dr. Richard Huntoon from Advanced Alternative Medicine Center saying, I look forward to seeing you again next week when your health matters.